Anime, and shonen anime especially, really love their character archetypes and tropes, repeating some version of the same few characters and character dynamics over and over again with different coats of paint and varying levels of nuance. I mean, how many times have we seen some version of the Goku and Vegeta dynamic or the Naruto and Sasuke? He's fun-loving and quirky, and he's quiet and has emotional trauma. What could possibly go wrong? Or how when there's a group or team, there's always that one token girl character. You know, it's always boy, boy, girl. Boy, boy, girl. Boy, boy.
Wait a minute!
I mean... Anyway.
The answer is a lot.
Though anime is often very egregious about it, character archetypes repeat a lot through all of fiction, not just anime. And there's nothing wrong with archetypes. There are some good aspects to it too. Mainly being that you can identify with or connect with a certain archetype and really become attached to it, finding joy or excitement each time a new flavor of your favorite gender is birthed into the 2D world. Whether it's the cool white-haired dudes or the delinquents with a heart the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2, or tsunderes, which for the love of God I still don't understand the appeal. Like, man, please just love me regular. Please! There's always a new character to latch onto and make your new personality. For me, the archetype that I love no matter how many times I see it is the energetic, often straightforward, too good for this godforsaken planet Gambaruzo. Call them Ike because
I fight for my friends.
Oh, we throwing them things. I need justice. Never back down. Never surrender. Bestest, most goodiest Punchy boys. A lot of my favorite characters are characterized by a combination of those aforementioned traits, having their own special mix of things that makes them tick. But I believe that most of them have one, maybe two of these traits sitting at their core, shaping their personality and behaviors. These ooey gooey centers being what hooks me on these characters and provides endless hype while watching or reading these shows. So I just want to take a 1, a 2, a 3. And look at some of my favorite Tootsie Roll centers from my favorite character archetype. So let's start with the I've got hands and if my friends are in danger, you best believe I'm gonna be throwing them. There's something extremely endearing about characters who care so much and so deeply about their friends that they're willing to go through hell and high water to fight for or protect them. At the drop of a hat, they'll put their own body on the line to defend those that they love, pushing themselves above and beyond what they themselves thought they were capable of doing to do what they need to do. Like, sir, how did you do that? You were half dead a second ago. Now you're standing back up for like round number 7. Some may even call this the power of friendship, right? Which is usually not being said in a positive manner. But personally, I've never really had a problem with that concept, at least in the general sense, because I can kind of relate. Like, obviously I'm not fighting demons or anything, but whenever I have to do something for the sake of someone else or what I'm doing is going to affect someone other than myself, I'm definitely more locked in and I'm usually going to try harder and go beyond what I'd normally do just for myself. Of course, it can go a bit overboard sometimes, like just everything that Urza does in the latter half of Fairy Tail, but at its best, it can lead to some of the most passionate and heartfelt moments. When Luffy is battling against Rob Lucci and is on the verge of defeat after catching a to the chest, it's his drive, desire, and responsibility as a friend and captain that allows him to dig down deep as he can, to stay on his feet and launch one of, if not the greatest Gatlings to this day in order to defeat Lucci and save Robin. It's such a powerful and inspiring moment that comes directly from the desire to protect someone important. Though I did say that some of the things that happen in Fairy Tail went a bit too far, and while people in general make fun of Fairy Tail and its power boosts a lot, I don't know, man, I still don't really have that big a problem with it in general. The Fairy Tail Guild is a perfect example of the love and care you can have for a found family. While they don't always get along, they do have love for each other and would do just about anything in order to protect or defend each other. Like when Team Levy was strung up on that tree, and the entirety of Fairy Tail rolled up just to beat the daylights out of Phantom Lord? Like, nah, man, that was so hype. Nah. Like, I wanted to be back there with him. Like, let me get in on this. Let me throw a few hands. So, Fairy Tail is an anime that's filled with characters that hold this trait. And you can obviously see it the most in a character like Natsu. Hashtag justice for Fairy Tail. Or even look at Yu Hakusho. Due to the unjust rulings of the Dark Tournament, Kurama had been forced into the next round even though he was unconscious from his previous fight. His opponent Bakken took this opportunity just to wail on his lifeless body, receiving constant and uncontested blow after blow, and with Koto being unable to stop the proceedings, Kurama was about to receive what would undoubtedly be a fatal blow, when abruptly, Bakken is told to stop by his team leader. When Bakken questions why, he's told this.
If you had landed that punch, you would have died as well. Or do you think you would have survived a bullet in the back? It's clear Yusuke cares more about that demon's life than this tournament. He's ready to fight every apparition in the stadium if he must.
Damn, that was so real.
In that moment, with Kurama's life on the line, Yusuke decided that this match, the tournament, even Toguro himself did not matter. If that punch would have been thrown, he was going to kill Bakken and anyone else who got in his way. I have seen that moment at least 10 times, and I feel it every time. Though it took him a while to accept it, Yusuke will not play about his friends. Also, special mention to Yusuke biking after Kuwabara. That man was moving on that bike. So, while obviously exaggerated because it's anime, I feel that these are the kinds of friends that we'd all be lucky to have. Someone to go to bat for you when you aren't around. Someone who will take that 2 a.m. phone call when you need it. Or someone who will just do whatever they need to do to make sure that you're okay. That spirit in exaggerated anime form is just super endearing to me and gets me hype every time I see it. And to follow that up, another characteristic that I tend to find in the characters that I love the most is a strong desire to do what's right. The characters who are steadfast and ardent in their righteousness, morality, and all-around do-goodery. A character who immediately comes to mind when I think of this trait is Izuku Midoriya. I have always liked Deku as a person. Deku is a hero. Even before he had his powers, his body moved without thinking in order to protect innocence. And even those who really weren't all that innocent. No matter how hard the task, he will go above and beyond to save any and everyone that he can, even to the point of being a detriment to himself, and sometimes those around him. In the early days of Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji also fit this role. His grandfather's dying wish led him on a path to want to give people a proper death, which was a noble ambition to get him started on his journey. It's just an unfortunate reality that that mentality did not play well with the world or events of Jujutsu Kaisen at all. After the Shibuya incident, that noble desire morphs into a much colder and more practical version of the unshakable desire to do what's right or what must be done. Exercising curses no longer being about guiding people towards a meaningful death or finding some purpose in his existence as Sukuna's vessel, but exercising curses becoming who and what he is as a jujutsu sorcerer, exercising curses in itself being for the greater good. Even though Yuji is broken down constantly and consistently, he never truly loses his good heart or becomes truly cold, which is why a similar aspect of the desire to do what is right is just an overall kindness that these characters carry. I love when characters are genuinely good people who, under normal circumstances, wouldn't even hurt a fly. Characters that will go very much out of their way to help those in need and would put their whole heart behind their fists in order to save those that they can. Tanjiro of Demon Slayer is one such character. Tanjiro might be one of the goodest boys to ever be a good boy. He oozes kindness, sincerity, and radiates a loving big brother energy. And under normal circumstances, he would have never become a fighter in the first place, living out his days in peace selling charcoal. His slaying of demons is a byproduct of the situation and his desire to protect the innocents that are devoured by demons. Though he must kill demons, he is still able to find sympathy and understanding for many of the demons that he slays. And he would not slay or harbor any ill will towards a demon who wasn't out there killing off innocents. The kindness and infallible ethics that can be found in some of these characters speaks to the best parts of humanity. They are the beacons shining through the dark depths of humanity and the world, guiding us forward and showing us what we could truly be. So when I see a character challenged yet they still come out the other side steadfast and with their hearts intact, I feel a weird sense of pride and determination. Speaking of such determination, zeal, drive, and just an overall all-encompassing burning passion is the last and most important aspect of the characters that really stick with me. The aforementioned
My friends are my power.
and
Stop right there, criminal scum!
character traits may or may not always be present within the characters that I like. However, as general as it may be, passion is the only constant and most important by a mile. I was late to HunterxHunter. I had not read the manga, I didn't see the original anime, and I still haven't, and I didn't even look into the series as a whole until the 2011 anime had already reached about the election arc. Or, in truth, it might have already been over. I don't remember what exactly gave me the random idea to suddenly look up HunterxHunter, but I just did. I went on YouTube, typed in HunterxHunter, and I just clicked on the first thing that caught my eye, and it was this.
助けなくちゃって。何?
Oh, they was cooking with this one. The scene of Gon confronting Pito was the very first thing I ever saw from HunterxHunter. I had zero context for anything that had happened up until that point. I didn't know what the series was about, I didn't know any of the characters, and I did not know what led this little boy to this point, but I was undeniably moved. The amount of overwhelming and pure emotion that burst from Gon as the scene went on, and being able to instantly feel something for this character that I had known nothing about as I watched his internal and external struggle play out was undeniably moving. To the point where I literally found tears in my eyes as Gon questioned Pito at the top of his lungs. I started HunterxHunter from the beginning that day. If there are big emotions happening, man, I'm there for it. Give me a huge speech about all the things you've overcome and how you'll never give up. I'm crying. Scream to the heavens, or I guess the demons in this case, about the pride you have in your homie. I'm crying. Get your hands blown off because you're being selfish and stubborn, but you're here and ready to get active. Man, I'm crying. That stuff just speaks directly to my soul, and I need it in my veins. Like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a positive thing. Like, just general outbursts of emotion. Shout out to my boy Yuji crying on the ground.
Oh, my poor baby.
I mean, just look at Haikyuu. Just like everything about Haikyuu. Every character in Haikyuu has their own goal pushing them forward, and they let their passion for volleyball fly freely. But no one more so than Hinata. Hinata's drive to be on the court is monstrous. If there's a ball in the air, that boy jumping. If there's a court to step on, well, he's hot stepping. And he will do anything he can to stay on that court. His drive to overcome his lack of height and formal skills to compete with the very best, all the while having the most fun in the world playing volleyball, is just so inspiring. You really can't take your eyes off him. For me, the idea that someone has invested so much of themselves into something, cares so deeply about their goals or ideals, or just feels something so strongly and so intensely is pretty admirable. To hear and see that intense emotion expressed so passionately in both words and actions, this places me and makes my face leak. So here's a short and random compilation of things that have made me feel.
ここにいる者は誰も死なせない。僕だけがこんなところで負けるわけにはいかない。
待ってたよ。
ありがとう、残月。あんたは俺だ。
Substantial adrenaline surge. Muscles bracing for impact. Maximum power attained in...
So, you've probably noticed by now that, for the most part, what I've been describing is just the shonen MC. Yep. Now, of course, these aspects or traits are not limited to just the main character, but a lot of times the MC of shonen specifically are characterized in this way. They're gung-ho, righteous, and put the ones they love above all else. Those characteristics are usually at the core of shonen anime, at least the ones that focus on combat, because it tends to be what holds the story and plot points together. It's the core that everything is filtered through. The story usually goes out of its way to put those aforementioned traits to the test. Will your morals or ideals be broken when challenged? Are you strong enough to protect the things that you love? How far will your passion get you in the face of overwhelming despair? And I love when characters get beaten down by those questions but still stand strong and answer back with their hearts and a fist. Characters who hold steadfast to what they believe in. Characters who won't let their beaten and broken bodies stop them from defending their friends. And characters whose passion may waver but will still always find a way to erupt. These traits, while obviously exaggerated and put through unimaginable fictitious situations, speak to some of the best and most admirable parts of humanity. You can't tell me that the world wouldn't be a better place if there were more people like these guys running around in real life, or you can't tell me that you yourself wouldn't have a better life if there were some of these types of people in it, or that you yourself wouldn't be a better person for having some of these traits. And maybe that's what resonates with me so much about these characters. There's a lot to admire and aspire to, and even on a base level, it just gets me hype. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the Punchy boys.